I'm the Assistant Vice President of Operations, and today we're going to take a look at Zippo manufacturing. We're going on a plant tour. Follow me. This machine is known as the Waterbury. This machine takes rolls of coil brass, feeds them into the machine through a series of punches and dies, and brings out the tops and the bottoms, which will go down the conveyor belt, up the other side, and through a cleaning system to get ready for the next process. After the parts are done on the Waterbury, they come over to our printing operation. The printing operation consists of loading the parts onto the vise where they will come around and the stamp will come down and print on the bottom of the lighter the Zippo manufacturing sign, as well as the date, the year it was made, as well as the month. This is what our lighter looks like on the bottom after it's gone through the printing operation. You will see the word Zippo imprinted on the bottom. Also, you will see a letter and a Roman numeral. This will tell us the year and the month that this lighter was made. This is very effective for us in case any time in the future we may want to backtrack a part. This is a trimming operation. This is where we're taking a top to a regular lighter, cutting off the excess brass, and putting in the hinge notch. This top will be taken with the bottom part of the case and taken over to the welder, where the hinge will be loaded in, and we will have a welded case which will be ready for the buffing area. As you can see right here in my hand is the difference before the operation and after the operation. You can also see where we have installed the notch where the hinge will sit in so the lighter will be able to open and close. This is the welding operation. As we have seen previously, we have seen the tops made, we have seen the bottoms made. Now we're going to take a top and a bottom and a hinge, and we're going to load them onto the welder, and they're going to travel around the table to where they're going to be welded. Once they're welded, they'll come down the chute to the inspector table, where the inspector will visually inspect all of the parts before we send them over to the buffing area. This machine has an automatic top load, so what we are hand loading is the hinge and the bottom part of the case. Here's something that maybe you're a little more familiar with. What a Zippo lighter looks like after everything's completed. Now we're going to take this lighter and we're going to do lots of things to it, so let's go see what we can do. After the parts go through the welding operation and leave case fabrication, they come into the buffing department. This is where we buff the lighters and get them ready to go to other areas. This operation that you're looking at right now is the high polish buff operation. The lighters are been loaded onto the fixtures where they'll go around back into the buff house. Using compound and buff wheels, the lighters will be buffed to their high polish state. As they come back through, they're unloaded off of the machine, loaded onto the conveyor track where they will go through the cleaning system. They will come down through the cleaning system where they'll come out the other end into their good, high-polished state. As you can see right here, the lighters now have that high-polished look to them. The lighters are pulled off the conveyor and inspected for any defects before they are sent to other areas. This buffing operation is known as our hand buff operation. This is where the lighters are actually buffed by hand. We saw that how they buff on the machine and attain the same high polish coverage. but with this operation we use for our precious metals such as sterling silver and 18-karat gold and any brass product that might have a very delicate pattern. As you can see, the ladies take them in their hands, put them up to the buff wheel, where we use the buffing compound to attain the high polish finish. This is another type of buffing operation that we have here. This is known as our brush finish buff. The lighters are loaded onto the fixtures and they will come down the conveyor to where they are lubricated. They will come down into the next area where in behind that machine is a series of sand type paper belts that will put the brush finish onto the lighter. They will come down through here where they are loaded onto the fixtures. Once loaded onto the fixtures, they will go down through a cleaning operation. After the parts have gone through the cleaning system, they again come off the belt on a conveyor where they're, once again, as we saw in the other lighters, are visually inspected for any defects that could possibly be on the part. As you can see on this machine, as opposed to the other machines, this lighter does have a brushed finish look or a rougher texture to the part. When these parts are loaded in the box, as the other parts, they're designated to different areas to either be chrome plated or designated as a commercial order. This is the plating department. After the parts have gone through the buffing operation, one of the steps that they can go to next is to be plated. In this department, we do chrome plating, gold flashing, or silver plating. What you're going to see in this operation is the chrome plate operation. The lighters are unloaded from the boxes that we saw in the buffing process and loaded onto the racks. Those racks are then taken and hung onto the machine where they will go through a series of different processes, a cleaning system, a preparatory system, before they come off the other end as actually chrome plated parts. The parts are loaded at the other end after chrome plating where they're taken off the racks and visually inspected by the inspectors. As we walk down here, we can actually see the difference in the colors of the parts. As you look right up here on this machine, you can see that orangish color, which are the parts before they're going into the nickel. The next rack is actually after the nickel dip, and then the final racks are the actual chrome-plated parts. These lighters, even though they're chrome-plated, are not done yet. Maybe now they'll go and have a design painted on them, or maybe they will be sold as a regular stock plain lighter. You can see right now we're in the etching department, and what we're doing right now is loading in a silk screen. The silk screens are used to put the pattern onto the lighter. This particular screen is getting the lighter prepared to go through the etching process. The screen is loaded into the machine and adjusted so it fits properly, and then a substance known as resist will be loaded down into the screen and pushed through the screen onto the product so the product can go through the etching process without damaging the lighter. Where you would see the blue resist is a protection for the case. Where you would see the pattern is actually where the acid baths will eat out the lighter so it can either be paint filled or just plated over to show what we call a luster etch finish. This process right here is where she is loading in the resist down into the silk screen, pulling down the squeegee head so the squeegee can force it through the screen. And now we're ready to go. You can see that squeegee's coming across the lighter. This is what the lighters look like after the silk screen process. The blue is the protective area, and where it's not protected is where we'll go through the acid baths. This area right here is the spotting area. This is where the inspectors are inspecting the lighters, making sure everything that's blue is blue, and anything that's not supposed to be blue doesn't have any blue in it. As we discussed at the process, the blue is the protected part, and where you can see the brass is where the acid will actually attack the lighter to put on the design. So it is very critical that we do not have any blue in the design or left not marked that should be marked with the resist. After the spotters have inspected these lighters, they will go down to our taping operation. As you can see right here, these lighters are loaded onto these boards that are known as the etch boards. We take this protective tape and cover each lighter so when the lighter etch down back, we will not have any acid leaking down inside of and damaging the lighter. This is the final inspection before these parts go to be etched. This is a very critical operation, making sure everything is covered, like I said, so the acid can't get down in there. The boards would be loaded onto the conveyor, and the conveyor would take them through into the back room. This is the back room. The boards are loaded. They're pulled out of the boards right in this area here, where they're loaded onto racks, where they will actually go through the etching process. They'll come down through here. Again, this is performing the etching process. We're getting everything cleaned off. They're going to go through a drying oven. And as they come off the back end, you can see how the acid is eaten down into the case, and this case can now be paint filled. Now we'll go over and look at what actually takes place as we paint fill lighters. As you can see in this operation, we're actually putting the paint that we saw etched out. This procedure is done basically the same way as it was done to prepare the lighter for the actual etching process. We're using a silk screen, but this time there's paint been loaded into that silk screen. For each paint color, there is a screen to signify for that paint. If it's a lighter that's going to have 6 different paints, they will have 6 different screens. The paint is loaded into the screen, the same effect. The squeegee's going to come across, put it on the lighter. The order will be done one color at a time, loading different screens, loading different paints, and repeating the process until done. These lighters have already gone through the painting process, and now we're inspecting them. What we're doing right here is taking off the excess paint. When the lighter goes through the etching operation and the paint fill is put in, a lot of times there is bleed over of the paint on the sides. In order to enhance the picture and show a clear image, we go through this cleaning process. As you can see, a before and after picture of what actually looks like after it's been cleaned. You can see how the picture is more enhanced and stands out, and you don't have a bleed through of paint. This procedure is done for all of our etch paint orders. They're also going through a visual inspection before they go to the area where they will be fit up and cleaned and boxed. This procedure that we're looking at right now is known as our fit-up procedure. What you're seeing take place is the case that's already gone through all the customization area has been fit up with our inside unit. The inside unit is also made at Zippo by being made of stainless steel, and if it goes into, as this case, as you can see, a gold lighter, it goes through a gold bath to give it that gold appearance. A lighter is wedged. The inside is made to fit. If it does not fit, we make the adjustments. After the fit-up procedure, the lighters are cleaned and inspected. As you can see right now, we're checking for fit to make sure the lighter fits properly. If it doesn't, we may use a plugging operation. This is where the lighter is placed on a vise and opened up a little bit. This is a spreader, and what you can see he's doing is spreading the bottom part of the inside unit to make it fit properly into the case. After the lighters are fit up, the next operation is the final step, which is our clean and box operation. As you can see right here, the lighters are cleaned, boxed, labels are put on, they're placed in the box, and the guarantees are used. The lighter is ran across a cloth using a cleaning substance. The operator is also checking for any defects before the product would leave the plant. The lighters are coming down the track where they will be pulled off the track and go through their final inspection before going out the door to the customer. This job, known as the checker, is taking the lighter, checking the inside unit to make sure it has the proper fit, and is also visually inspecting to make sure the labels are in the proper places and there are no scratches or anything on the lighter. The lighters are taken out of the trays after they went through the previous inspection, where they're loaded into these small white boxes. The boxes are then put together where they are loaded into the brown master cartons over here, ready for shipment to the customer. The box will be closed and sealed and on its way.